I checked my credit score today and it is an 850. How did I go from having a credit score in the 400s to having an absolute perfect credit score, which I might add, only 1.6% of Americans ever get to 850. So this is my step-by-step raw guide on how to get an 850 credit score. Hey guys, it's Amon from Our Rich Journey, and on today's video, I am gonna walk you guys through how I was able to achieve a perfect credit score. Now, let's take you back to the point when my credit was horrific. This was in my 20s, and back then, it felt like I was in financial prison. I couldn't get approved for a decent apartment, a credit card, a car loan, and worse, when I did get approved, the interest rates were insane. It wasn't just frustrating, it was expensive. But that wasn't even the worst part. For me, the worst part about having bad credit was the judgment. You get treated differently when you have bad credit. Landlords, banks, even job applications. People assume you're irresponsible even if you're just someone that made mistakes or didn't know better. And so at this point in my life, I had to make a choice. Either accept being financially trapped for the rest of my life or take control of my situation. And when I took control, I also decided to learn everything I could about what goes into the credit score and what I needed to do to improve it. And so, if you don't know, there are 5 main factors that make up your credit score. And those are: 1, your payment history. You see, your payment history makes up 35% of your score. 2 is credit utilization. That makes up 30% of your score. The third factor is length of history, and that makes up 15% of your credit score. The fourth factor is new credit inquiries, and that makes up 10% of your score. And the fifth is your credit mix. That makes up 10% of your score. Once I realized the 5 main factors that went into the credit score, I knew how to approach repairing my credit score. And so what I devised was really the 7 steps that I utilized to improve my credit. Step 1, I assessed the damage. In reality, I didn't really know how bad my credit was until I pulled all of those reports from all 3 bureaus and took a hard look at what was on paper. And what I realized is that there were a lot of mistakes on my credit, which brings me to step number 2, disputing the errors. So I found mistakes like old debts that were paid but still showing up, incorrect balances. There were things on my credit that weren't even mine. They were just absolute mistakes. So as I went through and started to clean these things up, I got letters from the right people. I took those letters and gave them to the bureaus, and the bureaus started to take those things off of my credit report. By just removing the errors alone, my credit score started to improve. The next step, step 3, was I negotiated my debt away. And what I mean by this is for debts on my credit report, I did something called a pay for delete deal. So a pay for delete deal is when you call a creditor and you negotiate for lower payments, and in some cases, you get them to remove negative remarks in exchange for paying off balances. You see, not every company is going to do this, but it's worth asking. And for the other debts, I got on payment plans, and in some cases, getting on the payment plans allowed my credit report to show current instead of late on those debts. And as my credit started to improve, this brings me to step number 4. I improved my utilization rate. You see, one of the fastest ways to improve your credit score is by improving your credit utilization. Your credit utilization is how much of your available credit you're using. And so someone that has a high utilization rate, that's using something like 100% of their credit, that hurts their credit. Where you want to be is you want to have a lot of available credit and you want to utilize as least amount of it. Ideally, you should be utilizing about 0% of your revolving credit. You see, the balances on my credit cards were maxed out, which made my credit score tank. But by paying down my balances, it improved my utilization. So at one point, I got it to 50, then I got it to 30. Eventually, I got it down to 0. And now I keep my utilization around 0 to 1%. And once my utilization dropped, my credit score skyrocketed. So this is a huge hack when it comes to improving your credit, because your utilization rate accounts for a tremendous part of your credit score. You see, the more I learned about credit, the more I realized that credit is one of those things that you want to have a lot of, but you don't really want to use. Because when you show that you have a great deal of credit available to you, but you are not using it recklessly, that actually helps your credit score significantly. Which brings me to step number 5. I started applying for additional credit, not to use, but to have, in order to increase my utilization and to also build credit history. The next step, step 6, is I never missed a payment again. Now keep in mind that a single late payment can drop your credit score by 100 points. Whatever credit I had, if it was with real estate, a car loan, credit cards, I always paid my bills on time or ahead of schedule. I never missed a payment. And finally, step 7, I let time do the rest. You see, here's the truth. Credit takes time to build. Even after fixing my biggest mistakes, I had to be patient. The longer you keep good credit habits, the higher your score climbs. And so that's how I took my credit score from the 400s all the way up to the perfect 850. So here I am now with a perfect 850 credit score. And having an 850 credit score, it is truly a game changer when it comes to your finances. Some of the things that it's done for me: I get approved instantly for the best credit cards. I qualify for the lowest interest rates possible. I have unlimited financial options when it comes to loans, investments, business credit, anything. And most of all, I don't stress about getting denied anymore. I can walk into a bank and I don't have that same insecurity or anxiety when it comes to my credit. And so for me, the biggest thing that I've gotten out of improving my credit is peace of mind. And so I hope this video has given you food for thought, encouragement, and as usual, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.